Hello! It is currently the 4th of July. Happy 4th, everybody. Today I did want to show you how some of my roses were doing here in Phoenix. So I do have a couple of other videos on my channel called Roses in like 110 plus degree weather. And I put those up last year, like end of July, early August. So last year was very hot. So last year was actually a pretty warm summer for us last year here in Phoenix. It was in the 120 degree range for quite some time, and a lot of people lost a lot of plants, like well-established plants. It was very hot for us last year. So I do have quite a few videos up showing how my roses fared the heat last summer. But this summer I wanted to do it a little bit earlier, so it's beginning of July. So it's been hot so far, but it hasn't been just blistering for a month and a half straight. So the roses are doing a little bit better right now. So I thought it would be a good time to show the roses that I think do well in the heat here and show how they're performing. Again, it's Phoenix, and it's Phoenix summer, so they're not gonna look great. But even though they don't look their best, you can definitely tell that some like the heat just a little bit better than some of the other roses. I do have roses that don't do the best in the summer, but I still really like how they perform in the fall, winter, spring. So I think it's up to you whether or not you want to get one that is going to do a little bit better in July versus not. Alright, so I'm going to go show you some of the roses in my garden that I think do the best here in the Phoenix summer. Okay, so before I get into showing some of the roses here, I do want to remind everybody that at some point in summer I just decide not to deadhead anymore, so there's going to be some pretty crunchy looking non-deadheaded flowers everywhere. Also, this is the Phoenix summer, so this is quite common to have the lighter foliage, the smaller foliage. It's just kind of hot right now, and it does take a toll on the vigor of the rose. So this one is Ketchup and Mustard. You can see, even though the foliage is obviously not as green or as big as some of the foliage that it puts on in the cooler weather, it does have quite a few buds and new growth, and the blooms do not look terrible. They're very small, very cute. So the blooms do tend to get smaller here with the heat. But overall, I think I really like this rose. Overall, I really like this rose as far as heat goes. You can see that there was quite a few blooms, that it had put on recently, and it is still trying to put on new blooms. So I do like this one. Okay, so this one looks a little rough, mostly because I did not deadhead it. But this one is Blue Girl, and this one looks really good in the cooler weathers. But I did want to point out that I think this one doesn't like the heat so much. I get one really nice flush off of it, and then a second flush that does okay, and then here, this time of year, there's really like no growth happening on this. This one just kind of likes to, this one kind of doesn't enjoy the heat as much, but I still really like this rose. However, if you're wanting, you can see the difference between the Ketchup and Mustard and this one. Okay, this one is Doris Day. I would say Doris Day does the best in my garden for as far as heat tolerance goes. So you could see the last couple of roses I showed you looked probably a little rougher, and honestly I'm watering and fertilizing and doing everything the same. So I do think that the type of rose that you get does make a big difference in the summer performance. Clearly, like the Ketchup and Mustard, These flowers are very tiny, but they're still blooming. Looks good. It's got some new growth and buds on the flower. So overall, I would say this guy's not doing too bad at all. So this little rose is a miniature rose. It's a Sunblaze rose in pink, and I think this one looks pretty good. It's got little blooms, little clusters of blooms, so it's not doing bad here in the summer at all. This one is a flower carpet rose, and it's like Scarlet flower carpet, I believe is what it's called. So this one's doing pretty well here. It's got some good clusters blooming right now. It's got some new growth, so not too shabby. Alright, so this is my drift rose. I really like this rose. I think it does pretty well in the heat. You can see down here there's a cluster of roses blooming right now. And it's still putting on some new growth. Like, this is pretty solid new growth down here. This is a pretty solid cane that it's putting on. So overall, I really do like this drift rose here, even in the summer. Okay, and this one is called Distant Drums. I really like this one. I think it got one extra flush out of it. So I think I had 3 really nice looking flushes from spring, and then till summer I got probably an extra flush out of this one. Right now, you know, it's putting on new growth. The flower is tiny, but it is not doing too bad at all here. So even though I don't think these obviously look that good right now, I do think that they are making through the summer nicely. It is very hot here. The temperatures here are very extreme, so I do think that these guys do fare a little bit better here in the heat. So if you are looking for one that's a little more heat hardy out of my roses, I think these are the better ones.